Ladies and gentlemen, dear Biafrans, I welcome you to my channel. Please, this very moment, I see it to be very, very momentous. Lend me your ears and your heart so that it will be well with I and you. Thank you for knowing that you are there. As it stands this very moment, I want to inform Biafrans that this is not the time to gossip. This is not the time to waver. This is not the time to assume. This is not the time to be weary. This is not the time to be tired. This is not the time to be complaining. This is the time to work. This is the time to be strong. This is the time to be active. This is the time to be valid. This is the time to be strong. This is the time to fight for your right and over what belongs to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to inform you that Mazando Kanu, even in the prison in Sokoto, he is honored. Mazando Kanu is a honorable man, which cannot by any means be dishonored. God has anointed him a great leader, not a leader with a mouth, not a leader with, I mean, with call it, um, um, you can't call him a leader without a focus. He's a leader with a focus. Nnamdi Kanu is a leader with enthusiasm, a leader with sympathy, a leader with a sincerity, a leader with integrity. So as you are listening to me, let it make sense to you that he is the only precious gold you are having. Behind you and before you, no any other person, because no Igbo politician that can be able to protect any Biafran from the face of danger. And this is why you see all of them remaining mute, because Mazando Kanu happens to be their most acute enemies. So, as they define and understand Mazando Kanu as their enemy, you don't expect them to do anything meaningful or positive that could bring Mazando Kanu out of Sokoto prison. The bringing out of Mazando Kanu from Sokoto prison lies in my hand and in your hand as a Biafran. So as you are listening to me, I want to remind you quickly that Fulanese fights for their own. Hausas fights for their own. Yorubas fights for their own, if you don't know. But why is it so that Biafrans cannot fight for their own? Why is it so that Biafrans cannot stand with their own? Why is it so that Biafrans hate their own? Why is it so that Igbos hate their own progress? Igbos hate their own success. I want to say that Mazando Kanu is such a heavy blessing given to Biafrans, such a heavy and mighty upliftment. And I mean, no matter whatever you call it, he represents everything for Biafrans. Why should we remain silent and he will be taken away from us? I want to assure you and I want to remind you that the power of grave could not hold Jesus Christ. And on the third day, he jumped out of the grave and declared death destroyed because key was given to him to lock and unlock death. He's the only man that has ever died and buried and resurrected on the third day. Nobody has ever attempted it. D. Lawrence, who attempted to die and resurrect, on the third day he never knew that God was watching him closely. The grave was shaking, mightily shaking. So all of a sudden he wanted to do what Jesus did. Thunder come from nowhere and grounded him to powder. Are you getting what I'm saying? D. Lawrence said he will die and on the third day he will resurrect with occultic power. And he attempted it, God grounded him to powder. All right? So God watches everywhere. God is everywhere. And God is with Mazando Kanu. So let us not slack back in what we believe. And let us not join the enemies to sing the same chorus they are singing. We are up and doing. We have all what it takes. If it is to fight, we will fight to the end. Trust me. If it is to spend money, we spend money to the end. Trust me. Whatever it will take, materially, financially, numerically, and otherwise, I assure you, we shall flow on the same frequency to assure the release of Mazi and Kanu. He is not a criminal, he is not a fugitive, and he is not a terrorist. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is not the time to be biased. This is not the time to ask whether if he will come out or not. The case is not closed. This is not the end of the road for Mazi and Kanu. Understand all what I'm saying. Don't give up the faith. Don't give up the hope. If you give up, you will die. If you give up, you will be destroyed. Thank you so much for your numerous efforts all this while for close to 5 years now. He was kidnapped and incarcerated and illegally renditioned and incarcerated. You have been making a lot of effort. I recognize your effort and I recognize everything you have done. Even during sit at home, you participated perfectly and uprightly. Yes. So whatever it is, many of you or most of you have participated so much to ensure the coming of Biafra. Let me tell you something. As Biafra comes today, Biafra is going to be one of the biggest nations in Africa. Biafra is going to be the giant of Africa. Northern people and Westerners, call it Hausas and the Yorubas, have sat down and discussed it. And I said the next thing to do is anyone from Igbo land that get up to talk about Biafra should be killed so that all of them will remain quiet. Well, that solve the problem of Nigeria. If you have agreed with me, let us go as Biafrans who have a nation and future. Do you know that all the killings, kidnapping and raping that is happening today in Nigeria will end in the north and Yoruba land? Did you believe what I'm saying? All the evil being perpetrated here and there in Nigeria today will end where? In Hausa land and Yoruba land. They will not come to Biafra land. Try to understand what I'm saying. So, and this is why they cannot allow Biafrans to go. And this is why they are fighting everything they could do to frustrate the effort of Biafra nation. But you cannot stop a man that God sent on an assignment. You are getting what I'm saying? So, now they know that Biafra nation immediately is announced. That name called Nigeria is gone and forgotten in a hurry. Because Biafra is going to be a great and mighty nation on earth. And the revelation and dream and visions have not come to an end. It cannot be expired. All right? So, we shall go to war to access the Biafra nation. We are ready to do anything with Nigeria to get Biafra nation. We cannot remain slave in the land of our ancestors, our ancestral land. We become a slave to Fulani, Yorubas. We cannot do that. We cannot become slaves in our own country, in our own nation, and turn to a Muslim man, turn to a jihadism, turn to a jihadist, turn to a terrorist, turn to kidnappers and rapists. That's not our portion, and we don't have such feelings and thought. We are very industrious, very dynamic. We are everywhere in the world. Biafrans are mighty and populous. So don't disdain yourself. Don't demean yourself. Nothing Nigeria can do to frustrate you or to weigh you down that it should be accepted. Therefore, I encourage everyone listening to me this very moment. We are at war with Nigeria. Biafrans are at war with Nigeria, and Biafrans have won the battle. You may not know, but I'm giving you a new revelation. If you can cut this revelation, it will give you a revolution. If you get the revolution, then you get up and let us do it once and for all. Thank you.